Good morning and welcome to Monday Motivator. My name is Tobey. Thank you for joining me. Great to see you here. If you have any questions throughout today's quick presentation, please don't hesitate to ask. And as you arrive, please announce yourself in the Facebook Live area. This will be a interesting and quick presentation about the flip switch, and then we'll be taking any questions that you have regarding your membership or business or personal professional development. And of course, any comments or suggestions are definitely welcome. So this is about the flip switch. This is a concept that I learned very early on in my transition phase from professional musician and leaving that world and getting into the world of business and essentially shifting my focus and changing my energy and just being all around a more positive person in my life and in my business. And I think if you look back and you discover, maybe you could do some research on this, but discover the works from Dr. Robert Anthony, like The Secret of Deliberate Creation and other things like that, you'll find lots of interesting little how-tos about energy. And this is one that I found infinitely useful over the past 15 years or so. And I use it a lot less now because, of course, I'm pretty much reprogrammed. What happened to my picture? Oh, there you go. Pretty much reprogrammed. And I don't use it, like I say, as much as I used to, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work, and I do use it still from time to time. So this is a quick little one, and let's just discover what it's all about. So first of all, as you all are aware, what you put your focus on expands into your life, and because energy is everything, we all need a quick way to shift our energy from gloomy or away from gloomy or pessimistic feelings. So as I mentioned, I don't use it as much anymore because I don't tend to have too many gloomy or pessimistic feelings, although it does get me from time to time, and I do shift back into old energy paradigms. But in the early days of my transition, I had a lot of gloomy or pessimistic feelings, and this was one little trick that helped me. So how do you actually use the flip switch? Well, it's basically 17 seconds of your time approximately. And how it works is you must constantly be the silent watcher and monitoring your thoughts. For information about the silent watcher, please refer to a lot of our That's Ambitious trainings where we've talked about this significantly. The most recently, I believe, would be the happiness effect, or I think there's even one a bit later in the program. And we talked about in one program the let me see, what's it called? It's called the screen of the mind. And this is very similar to the screen of the mind, except it works a little bit differently. So this is actually a physical thing that you must do. And so first of all, envision or think about what's troubling you, and just briefly, and then reach around to the back of your neck and pretend that there's one of these switches, these on-off switches. And what I'd like you to do is just do this, and nobody can see you, so if you're doing it, nobody's going to judge you for it, of course. But just reach around and pretend that you're flipping the switch up. So take your thumb and your forefinger, grab the switch, and just kind of flip it up. And now what you're doing is you're shifting your pessimistic and gloomy feelings from low energy and resistance to much high energy. And as you do this, I want you to just picture in your mind either a nature scene or a time in your life when you were happy. Think about recent accomplishments. Think about days that you were are receiving an award, or perhaps the day you got married, or whatever image comes into your mind. You're basically replacing the low energy gloom and pessimism with high energy. And it's it's the combination of two things. It's this sort of reaching around behind your neck and flipping the switch, but also shifting your mind's focus. And what I always do is I say to myself, hey, I'm just turning on the energy switch, and that tends to shift my focus away from pessimistic or gloomy feelings. Now, at the same time, it may seem a little too simple to work. And for me, I did have those feelings, but at the same time, I would do this consistently and ongoing throughout the day, because as the day progresses and things start to happen around you and situations and circumstances drive you into this pessimism and gloomy feelings, then you can use the flip switch continuously. One other thing that I did do as well, and I won't talk about this significantly today, and its benefits, was the rubber band on the wrist. And every time I have a negative thought, I would basically run my wrist raw, and I would just literally pull the band out as far as possible and snap it against my wrist, and it would just go completely red. And after a while, you just sort of stop having negative thoughts. And that's how the flip switch works. Do you have any questions about it? When should you do this, or why should you do this, or who, where, what, when, why, and how? The 5W1H formula you could apply to any questions surrounding the flip switch. So if you have them, now would be a great time. But thank you for allowing me to share that quick little message with you. There's no real massive secret to its effectiveness other than you are involved and engaged in the act of the flip switch, and you are taking ownership over your feelings and your thoughts. And of course, any other questions that you have this morning on Monday Motivator, I'd be pleased to answer them. And we can talk about anything you like, including the flip switch. So Teresa asks, why 17 seconds? The answer is that's the amount of time it should take you to do the exercise. So the initial visualization of what's negatively going on in your life takes about 5 seconds. Reaching around to the back of your neck, turning on the flip switch, there's another couple of seconds, and then the remaining sort of 7 seconds or so, I would suggest that that's what you put your visualization on, a happy moment, a pleasurable moment, and just involving all of your senses in the moment of visualizing that happy moment. And 17 seconds is an approximation. It doesn't have to be 17 seconds. It's just that's what Robert Anthony suggested that it be. And so I've always just stated that, hey, 17 seconds. If you want to make it 25 seconds, that's fine. There's no right or wrong way to do this, obviously, I think. And I hope that answers your questions. So Amir asks more a context question about the future of That's Ambitious, and how many modules do you think you will add, just so we have a better idea of the game plan. Same with Monday Motivator. So the plan for now is to continue our program ongoing as is. So we have the Monday Motivator every second Wednesday, and there will be and we've had some requests for the Mastermind this Wednesday, and so I'll be reaching out to the people that requested it, and we will see if they want to participate in this Wednesday's Mastermind. And then, of course, the courses, the live stream courses, which are filmed every other Thursday. So we just did one this past Thursday. It's already edited and put into the membership area. So my plan for the long term of That's Ambitious is just to continue with that for now. We're not really taking any time off. If we do take time off from course creation or live stream or Mastermind or anything else that we do, we will be informing you well in advance of that. And I might, in exchange for that time off, pre-record things and put them in the membership area. Right now, we have a significant number of courses, and I know that with our membership, most people aren't even a third of the way through all of the courses. Now, you may not have an interest in one course versus another course, but I do believe there's infinite value in all of the courses. It's basically the sum total of everything that I've learned in business over the last 15 or so years. everything I've learned from courses and personal development. And I just feel that I'm not done, obviously, sharing information from a training standpoint on That's Ambitious, and there's plenty more subjects to tackle. I could, and as I'm doing right now, I'm taking suggestions for courses. Many of you have sent me emails or feedback on Facebook about courses you'd like to see. They just basically go in this big list of things. We never run out of material to share. And even some of the courses that have been recorded, like, for example, marketing courses and Groundhog, there's never ending how-tos subdivided into those courses as well. So we'll never really run out of information to share. The only question is how much is too much, I think, is the real question. And I'm not sure I'm willing to just sort of drop it right now and say, hey, we've got enough there and it's enough. So just like I continuously keep learning, I'm a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. The plan is to just keep sharing information that I've learned from clients. I mean, actually right now, it's interesting. I'm learning a lot from a couple of new projects that I've got going on with companies, and the interaction as I move through the project with those companies, the interaction helps me learn new things. And I like to always just sort of share with the That's Ambitious audience all of those things. So for right now, it's kind of status quo. And I think that's what you can look forward to. It's like, it's business as usual. So thanks for the question, Amir. Greg says, I may have missed this in a previous Monday Motivator. However, I was wondering if you could consider a future topic on short-term prioritization. We often get overwhelmed with the to-do list, and it might be helpful to laser focus on how to prioritize hanging fruit, highest results yield, or the bottlenecks that are holding up or impacting others. So what I would say first off, Greg, is I appreciate very much the question. I think we all are faced with the challenges of everyday prioritization. We have talked in previous Monday Motivators about the Placemat exercise. I think you can, the problem with the videos as they go into Facebook, they're not really labeled properly, but if you go to the video areas of Facebook and you start scanning through, we did something on the Placemat exercise that was requested. But also you can look in That's Ambitious, and there's a course called Agile Basics. And Agile Basics is a great course on how to do project management and prioritization of tasks. So that might be of help to you. And also, I think in terms of future Monday Motivators, we could certainly tackle more questions or content with regard to prioritization. And there's also, in That's Ambitious, if you look in some of the early courses in the getting ready stage, so you've got Deeply Committed, BHAG, A versus B, and the Turning Point. If you look into those courses, there is information about how to make a decision. So for example, we're faced with many things and directions to go in, and we don't really know which one to choose. And in I think it's the Turning Point specifically, I think there's solid information there about how to make a decision and know, with the 3 resistances in a row rule, when to turn back and take the other road. So if you want to check those out, but ongoing, you're more than welcome to ask any questions, specific questions about prioritization. If you have one now, I'd be pleased to answer it. So thank you for the question. So Amir says, make Monday Motivators per month, audio recorded, and put it up as a podcast on Spotify and YouTube. It seems like a great way for us to share it as a teaser for the course with others that are not enrolled yet. Okay. Let me take that under consideration. Every idea is welcome, of course. The challenge, of course, with podcasting is I mean, what we're doing right now is a form of podcasting to our group on Facebook. So, but as soon as you start to pick other channels for podcasting, like YouTube or, I mean, even Spotify, you have to build an audience for those things. So it's not something that if you have to focus on it in order for it to expand. So the challenge is, if we're going to do that, we have to put more effort into it than just putting them up monthly or even weekly. It's not enough. You have to engage with that audience. You have to build the audience. And so I think I understand where you're going. And yeah, these days it's just people's focus is fractured. People have so many distractions going on at a single time. And if you're going to start a channel, especially podcasting, it's got to have an audience. Otherwise, it's kind of not worth anything. So I appreciate the suggestion. I'm not specifically looking for ways to not agree with you. I would love to just have it work, post things and have like millions of people view them. But the internet is kind of a strange place for that. It's just there's so much noise going on, and you'd want to make sure that if you were doing something like that, you cut through the noise. Greg says, awesome, Paul. Thank you. Sounds great. I was speaking with a colleague last week, and we were both hitting a wall. I suggested we each pick 3 things and check back with each other in one point. So do you have an accountability partner, it sounds like, or is this just another person that you are in touch with? I'm not sure. I suggested we pick 3 things, check back with each other in 1.5 hours. It was a great way to find remote accountability. Oh, you have an accountability partner. And instill, I sort of finished reading it first, and instill a sense of urgency. Right. That's a great thing about an accountability partner or coach, is they tend to help you prioritize tasks. In terms of hitting a wall, it's every word you say has power. So I know that when we say to ourselves we're hitting a wall, that's the perfect opportunity to use the flip switch. And then start, as you say, suggesting 3 things, check back in an hour and a half. That's kind of like the opposite on the other side of the flip switch. So you're now focused on what you want instead of what you don't want. And the feeling of hitting a wall is certainly a negative and gloomy and pessimistic way of looking at your current situation. So yeah, I think you understand that. I hope that helps. Are there any other questions or comments before we wrap it up for today? We've been about 20 minutes, which is, usually 20 minutes to half an hour is our Monday Motivator time. So if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask them. Thank you. Ramona says, any courses on That's Ambitious that would help me with starting a YouTube channel? Not specifically, no. So I'm going to write that one down. I have a YouTube channel which is not that popular. And that's because, in response to Amir's question, it's one of those things where if you don't focus on it specifically and you don't spend time building it and building an audience for it, there is ways to go about that. But I can definitely help you technologically. Maybe we could make this a Monday Motivator topic to just sort of go into YouTube and how to start the channel, and some ideas on how you display videos. Because I do have some ways of, I think people, when they start a channel, there's basically this mishmash of videos that doesn't really make sense. All videos should be labeled on the video thumbnail themselves. They should have a title. They should be branded properly and branded exclusively to what the channel is. And so I think as a topic or a subtopic of marketing, I think starting a YouTube channel is a great idea. So right now, not specifically, but I think that I think it's definitely, I've put it on the list of things to be looking at. Greg says, nice, I see what you did there. I find that sometimes I resist the things that will get me what I want most. I don't know why I resist low-hanging fruit. Yes, good comment. Very often, though, it's interesting, low-hanging fruit. It's easy to pick, but it doesn't tend to be the tastiest. You want to set the bar significantly higher than low-hanging fruit, but I understand I think I understand what you mean. So Andrew says, hi, sorry I'm late. No worries, no problem. Ramona says, yeah, that would be great. So yeah, I think focusing, helping you start a YouTube channel would be great. Please be aware, however, that I'm not, I usually only like to share experience on what I've done. So I can only take you so far into the branding of the setting up of YouTube, the branding of it, but I'm not very consistent at it. So that's my challenge is I think YouTube is one of those things where you've got to post content at least a couple of times a week. You've got to be spending time on YouTube yourself, liking other videos, getting involved in other groups. It's very much like Facebook. It's like cross-group pollination, that sort of thing. So I can get you started, but as the world's leading authority on how to build a profitable YouTube channel, I'm not your guy. So I hope what I do have to share would be valuable to you. All right, thanks, Ramona. Are there any other questions or comments before we break for the day or the week? Greg says, it's true. I'll walk by the easy sales in order to find the needle in the haystack. It's silly in many ways when one is sales-driven production role. In a sales-driven production role, every bit of revenue counts, unlike my previous roles. Yes, this is true. I think in terms of sales roles, and I was speaking about this with Nancy. By the way, one thing I should mention that I wanted to mention throughout this whole thing is it's Nancy's birthday today. So, just happy birthday to Nancy. I'm just going to type it in the thing. And you may have already been notified of this and seen a post on my personal profile of Facebook. But basically, it's Nancy's birthday today, and I just wanted to say happy birthday to Nancy. And I was just speaking to her recently about her sister who is in sales for real estate and how well she's doing. And I think it's an interesting real estate time. A lot of people think that because of COVID, real estate prices are tanking. They're not really. In fact, many people right now are spending more on second homes, like cottages and places to go, because travel is kind of out for the moment. So there's been a dramatic increase in the number of people looking for cottages and buying second homes. But one of the things that I'd like to mention about sales roles, Greg, is that her sister, Suzanne, just expects to be successful. She has this inbred, second nature, intuitive way of looking at her business. It's not to say that she doesn't work at it. She does, just like any other business owner. She definitely is a broker and she owns her own brokerage. But at the same time, in addition to working it regularly, and in addition to all of the things that realtors are responsible for, and house showings and accepting offers and all of that, Suzanne has been ultimately successful at this for many, many years. And it's not just reputation. It's not just that people know her. It's not just that she's the go-to person and everybody, when you want property in the Saint-Donat or Mont-Tremblant area, that's where you go. It's that she just has this sense of success that is attractive to people. She just expects business to come in. And her sales, and she just sold 2 houses again on the weekend. It's like, I don't know how many that it makes this month. Maybe Nancy could shed some light on that, but it's been like, I don't know, for the last couple months, it's like 15 closings or something. It's incredible how much business she's doing. And I think it's due in part to the fact that she doesn't really go after low-hanging fruit, that she just thinks that the best properties will come to her, the best people will come to her, and she's just in the flow of acceptance. And it's a great place to be. So thanks for letting me comment on that. Andrew says, I have a friend who has an art gallery. He said sales are going very well. It may be because he's a very good salesman, but he is selling a lot. Oh, that's great. I mean, art is not the easiest thing to sell at the best of times. So seeing that, just congratulate. I love hearing success stories, so keep them coming. Thank you for that. A bunch of birthday congratulations for Nancy, so that's awesome. By the way, just on another note, it is our 25th wedding anniversary this Wednesday. So Nancy's birthday on the 13th, our wedding anniversary on Wednesday, and so we'll find some ways to celebrate that. We usually travel, but that's kind of out this year. So yeah, 25 years, pretty cool. Greg says, wow, I love that expectation to be successful. Yeah, it's funny, Greg, I have that feeling too. I expect success. Even during COVID, while everybody was sort of ducking for cover and hunkering down and weathering the storm, I was building projects, starting new things. I started Jazz Mental, which still I'm working at launching. And so I just, I would say that I do expect to be successful at everything that I touch. I don't go into things looking to fail. I go into them looking for big wins. So yeah, that's just a way of being that changes over time. If you focus on it. Andrew says, I'm having problems with Elementor and Groundhog. Is this a good time to ask about it? It depends on what the question is. I'm not sure what challenges you would be having, so if you can be specific about the question, sure. Nancy said, yes, that is real. She totally expects it. She doesn't blink at any other thought. Yeah, so Nancy, who knows her sister Suzanne very well, I've actually been in conversation with Suzanne this morning. She does not blink. She just expects everything to come to her, and as a result, it just does. Interestingly enough, Suzanne, over the years, has been involved in some of our courses. She's taken our courses as well. She came to Ultimate Wealth Weekend a few years ago. So she is very much on the personal development trail, and she has definitely gotten wiser as the years have passed. And I would recommend that if anybody's looking to buy property in the Laurentians, that they go to Suzanne, because she'll set you up royally. Yvonne says, babysitting and doing homework with granddaughters. I'll watch from the beginning later. Sorry, missed the beginning. Hey, no problem, Yvonne. We can join when we can join. Thank you for coming. Are there, and I'm just sort of waiting here on Andrew's quick question about Elementor and Groundhog.
It's a big one.
Oh, it's a big one? Okay. So maybe we can deal with that separately because it is a big question. So are there any other questions today before we head out? We're now at the half-hour point, which is about an average time for Monday Motivator. And I'm very grateful, by the way, for you showing up today and participating in Monday Motivators. I know not everyone can make it, and some people some Mondays, some others, but just the fact that you come here, it allows me to start my week off with this sort of helping push, right? The more you help others get what they want, the more you get what you want. So it kind of starts my week off great, and I'm thrilled to be able to do it. Andrew says, Elementor is hanging up and just spins. Oh, that's because you've got a conflict. And it's not Groundhog that's causing it. It's a conflict between Elementor and one of your plugins. So let me review that. I think my login information is probably the same, so I'll go check that right after, and I'll tell you what the plugin conflict is. And hopefully I can find it, and I'll get back to you by email, Andrew. But it's not a big problem. I know that Elementor has these conflicts with other plugins, and it's just a matter of determining which one it is, and then all you have to do is shut that plugin off if you want to do any Elementor edits, and then once you're done editing, you can turn that plugin back on, because it's a it's an administration area problem. It has nothing to do with the front end view. So it won't affect people's user experience, but it will affect the way that you are able to update the website. So let me find out what that issue is, and I'll respond to your query by email. Okay, unless there are any other questions or comments, I think that's a good point to leave it for this week. I wish you all great success at everything you do. Just a reminder that this Wednesday at 2 p.m., that's Wednesday, July 15th, which is my anniversary, by the way, our anniversary, I should say. We will be hosting the Mastermind session, and I'll be reaching out to a few of you who've requested the Mastermind and see if we can work it out for this Wednesday. Oh, and Andrew has a success story to tell. Okay. The thread for this, by the way, continues long after we finish the live stream. So if you want to share the success story in this thread or directly on That's Ambitious, which is probably better with a photo of what the actual success story is, that would be great. I think it kind of gets lost in this particular thread once the live stream is over. So I would suggest you just start a new post on That's Ambitious and share the success story. So I think that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for attending. My name is Paul Tobey. As always, I appreciate your attendance in Monday Motivator. Thanks for taking the time, and I will see you next time in our courses. Please, by the way, just one more thing. I do keep pretty close eye on how people are consuming courses in That's Ambitious, and we're currently modifying the way that our response system goes. So for example, let's say you finish 3 out of 5 lessons. Our goal is to hopefully have an email go out, say, hey, is today a good time to go finish the course? So we're working a little bit more at the communication process, or the automated communication process, to kind of keep you engaged with the videos. There is a lot of content there, and I'm very proud of what we've done. And I hope that you have a good week in your business, and maybe take some time out to consume some That's Ambitious content. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great week. And on behalf of Nancy and myself, we love you, and we'll see you later. Be ambitious. Hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, go subscribe to the channel, and get out there and be ambitious.